Let's call it into order. The liar's still been lying. The liars have still been lying. The thieves have still been stealing. The illegal surveillance, the plots and the plans are still commencing. These individuals are so fake and fraudulent, they couldn't tell you what I did last week. They couldn't tell you what I did 3 months ago. They can't tell you what I did 5 years ago. What they can tell you is what they have done, the fraud they have committed. Them following me around, GPS tracking me. You couldn't follow your own shadow. Word to the wise, black the fuck up. You might have the courts on your side. You might have corrupt organizations to help you steal, to help you commit fraud. You might have these unethical lawyers doing everything, making every phone call, sending emails, shuffling paper to commit fraud in my name. The only Jessica Lynette Younger that exists. I'm the only one. And I'm gonna say it every time I get on this channel, because you're not me. When me and Jafar Abu Irbeha got divorced December 1st, 2025, it proved, like I said in the divorce decree, that he sent murderers after me. He sent people to kill me. The people that he worked with also sent people to kill me. I filed a police report 6 months before our divorce, discussing these assets, talking with the immigration people over there about the crimes that Jaffa was committing, crossing state lines to commit DoorDash fraud with his group, Dr. Travel Services. Talil Al-Jahari and Tariq Al-Jahari were also involved with stealing people's identities. Jaffa shared his identity with his friends from Jordan. So while Jaffa was driving the semi-truck in Chicago for Barakat, Talil was using his DoorDash account down in Norfolk, Virginia. They did this for over a year. So y'all had time to frame people, gang stalk me about signing NDAs about how you framed me with my job, how you stole money from my job on your behalf, how Jaffa helped you guys set me up while he was crossing state lines, committing federal crimes as a non-citizen. I have talked about this on my YouTube channel. I have talked about this on my LinkedIn page. I have talked about this with the feds, with the IRS, and I said it in court on October 10th, 2025 to the judge, because I continue to speak about the discrimination, the hate, the adultery, the lying, the deceitfulness, the fraud that Jaffa was able to get away with because he had resources. Jaffa hadn't lived in this country 3 years and had more resources than me, and I'm a 43-year-old black woman who didn't do anything wrong. With my employers, with my neighbors, with my friends, I don't sleep with people's husbands, I don't sleep with people's brothers and sisters and all of that shit, the things that they were doing, and then gained illegal access to the places that I lived so that they could stage crimes. And then any place that I go to, they go around and gang stalk me, telling them I'm a scammer and I'm not me and I commit fraud and I'm a drug addict. When and where? When and where? You weren't in my life 10 years ago. You weren't there 12 years ago. You weren't there 15 years ago. You weren't there 20 years ago. There's nobody realistically who can say anything about me to my face that agreed with these family members, Jaffa's unorganized crime group, and everything else. You can't say it to my face. You can't say it within arm's reach. You can write it on a paper and then send an email behind my back, but you cannot say it to my face. You can't say it to my presence. Your illegal surveillance doesn't count. I never agreed to any illegal surveillance in any home that I lived in. That's basically saying anybody else who walked in my house to have a drink, to sit there and watch TV, to eat grilled food with me, come over and visit, also agreed to illegal surveillance. No, they didn't. And then you want to make me responsible for your illegal surveillance, for you wiretapping my home, for you mirroring my phone, for you putting Bluetooth devices in my car so you can listen to the music that I'm listening to, and then come in my house and steal my clothes, steal my birth certificate, steal my ID. Jaffa helped all of you commit fraud against me. I worked hard my whole entire life. There's no reason why I didn't, and there's no reason why I wouldn't. I've been more than able to always take care of myself. There was nobody there to assist. Shout out to my first husband. Yes, he did what he was supposed to. The first year me and Jaffa were together, year, 3 months, I paid half the bills. My bank account is proof of that. I paid for my car. My bank account is proof of that. My Cash App is proof of that. Jaffa did not provide. Now, when he started driving the truck and he got a consistent route in July of 2024, of course he paid the bills. He said he was making about $7,000 or $8,000 a month. Why wouldn't he pay the bills? That was something he wanted to do, which is part of his religion. I'm not religious. I haven't been since I was 13 or 14 years old. I don't have anything to do with gods and devils and demons and all of that. That's beyond out of my psyche. It has been for a very long time. Nothing's going to change that. I didn't just change when I got 25, 30. I didn't need to. I made that decision a long time ago. Doesn't mean that I don't respect it. I respect all religions. I respect people above religion because you're human first. If you were caught up on the side of the road, if you were camping and needed a fire, wood for your fire, I'm not going to say, oh, what religion are you? What race are you? If I got it, I'm going to give it to you. Now, giving means giving with a good heart, yes, but you are never supposed to give away your well-being for another person. For your child, maybe yes. For your husband, wife, maybe yes, because that is still some equality in there where you're going to receive from, right? But that is it. I didn't have anything to give to Jaffa. I worked 40 hours a week. I took care of my bills. I took care of myself. No different than how I entered the marriage. No different than how I presented myself to his unethical immigration attorney. No different than how I presented myself during the immigration interview. No different than I presented myself in my career field for the last 10 years, and also being an armed security officer. When I graduated with my GED, I took a year off, maybe 2, and went to school and I got a certificate. I got a certification for brick masonry and to be a certified nurse aide. After I graduated, I came back to Ohio. I got a 3rd shift job working home health aide, and then I got a 2nd job working as an unarmed security officer. And then eventually I dropped the home health aide. Why? Because security officer work was paying $15.50 an hour, and working 3rd shift as a health aide, home health aide, was paying like $12.50, $13.50 an hour. It was like $12.50 with a 75 cents differential back then. We're talking 2004 for working 3rd shift. Back then, I used to take a Greyhound to go visit my family in Lynchburg, Virginia. You know how long that was back then? You take a Greyhound in 2001, 2002, 2003. The Greyhound was 14, 15, 16, 17 hours to take a Greyhound from Columbus, Ohio to Lynchburg, Virginia. I never turned my back on my family. I did that for years. And then the first time I drove down there was for my Uncle Ronnie's funeral in 2005 when he passed away. It was the first time I drove down there by myself. It was 8 hours in the middle of the night because I had worked 2nd shift. I came home, threw my clothes in the car, got on the road. I was hungry, but I wanted to get there the next day for the service. Throughout the years, I continued to drive down there and drive back by myself. A couple times family came with me, not all the time. I did that by myself. I paid those tolls by myself. I got those speeding tickets by myself. It was drastic. For them to turn their back on me for Jaffa Abu Beha after I've been there for years for them when their kids were born, when they graduated, when they needed whatever, what a shame. I never had a reason to turn my back on them. See this tattoo? I done had that since I was 16 years old. Matter of fact, it's kind of blurry now, but it's a picture of myself. I got that done with Indian blue ink back then. Oh my God, that tattoo was $40. If you know the 90s and you got a tattoo real quick, you know it was easy $20, $30, $40 for somebody to do that. But always been loyal, always been dedicated, but I never gave away my well-being or my health for anyone. I never sacrificed anything because I never needed to. I lived within my means. I've had the same conducive life since I was a young lady to now. The same conducive life. Nothing has changed that. I make decisions and I make decisions pretty quickly. If the door closes, I leave it closed forever. I close doors on people from time to time. It's not that often, but it's the best thing to do. We're only human. And I'm supposed to waddle in the mud because y'all are less than? Don't think so. I closed the door on my siblings between 2010 and 2012. Closed the door on Jasmine's raggedy ass and my dad in 2017 and 2018. I let it be. They were criminals back then. They've always had felonies. They've always had people after them. They've always been involved with a group or a gang, on the run, all these charges, everything. Nothing I wasn't unknown to, nothing everybody didn't know down in Virginia. The whole family knew it. We're from the country. Nothing changed that. Ohio didn't change that, okay? I've been the same. I'm not gonna change. What you said about me, you cannot say it to my face. What you lied on me about, you can lie all the time. But like I said, when I go places now, I have to give a disclaimer that people are committing fraud in my name. And if someone shows up here after I'm gone or while I'm here and they say I'm a scammer and I'm a fraudster because they've been gang stalking me for 3-4 years now, longer than that, so they claim. They've been bragging about how much they've been stealing, and how their connections work and how I can't do anything about it because they're so connected. They can get away with everything. Honey, I couldn't even go to the store and buy a lottery ticket the last 2 years without them fools showing up after I was gone talking about me. I'm a scammer. How? When I use my own money. The money I work 40 hours a week for. Okay? I will stand with and without. I don't need anything. As long as I have my house, my car is taken care of, my pets are taken care of, what else more do I need? I have nice clothes, I have nice shoes, I do my hair, I take care of myself. It's always been that way. I have pictures that go way back. So I'm not on Facebook and Instagram because I don't have to be. Those social media pages were never anything of mine that I carried. Back when people were on Facebook, and I mean, they still are, but like back when people were using Facebook, I was using Google Circles and WordPress. And quite a few people might remember those things, but that was my go-to. If I wanted to post something, I would post it to Google Circles, especially through 2017, 2018. I think it might have been 2020, 2021 when they got rid of Google Circles, but it's definitely been some years, but I had it all those years. I don't have to say what I haven't done, but what I can tell you is that out of all the police reports that I have filed, all of the complaints I have filed with the USPS, with the Attorney General, with immigration fraud, on the Franklin County Municipal Court team, all of it is deaf ears. Of course, I have records and emails and paperwork, copies of the paperwork and originals and everything that I have sent off, but nothing has been done. There's never been a time when I've been quiet about this situation. But they got away with it, and they're still getting away with it. They're still able to get away with their crimes. How? How? When I'm sitting here, I'm right here, everything is always updated with me. I've always been responsible. I've always filed my taxes. I've always taken care of my cars. No one's ever paid for anything in my life. I pay all my bills. I've always been responsible for money. In 2010, I filed bankruptcy. And I filed bankruptcy, shout out to the law offices of Sean Cedrus up there at Easton. Um, I filed bankruptcy, but it was due to medical debt. In 2002, 2003, I went to Doctor's West like twice, and maybe three times, somewhere around there. Literally, I had thought I had food poisoning, some gas or something like that. I don't know, but it was giving me gas, right? So, little TMI, but that's what it was. So back then, you could walk into an emergency room, and that's $3,000 off top, okay? And time they do some medical work and testing and everything, it can be thousands of dollars later, okay? So I didn't have insurance back then. I was working full time, but just didn't have insurance back then. So before I even had a credit card in my name, I filed bankruptcy. I didn't file it on a car. I didn't file it on land. I didn't file it on anything else. I had about $15,700 in medical debt. That's all it was. And when you do debt consolidation, which is a smart thing, they give you some options, just in case you don't want to file bankruptcy, just in case you may make some income that's feasible enough to pay those bills off. Honey, that won't gonna happen at $16 an hour paying my own bills. No, they said, oh, you can pay $389 a month for the next 5 years, 7 years to pay down those $15,000 in debt. Honey, no, she's not. Honey, no, she's not. She's going to pay this lawyer, this bankruptcy fee. We're going to get rid of all of these things. Yes, it might take 3 to 6 months, but I did the smart thing, which what most Americans can do. If you can't see yourself paying out $15,000 in the foreseeable future, then you need to file bankruptcy. You can't file it on your student loans, and there's a couple other things you can't file it on. But I didn't have anything but medical debt. I didn't have a car loan because my cars were always paid for with cash. Still to this day, nothing's changed. Since 2010, 2003, 1998, 2026. Nothing has changed, okay? So I filed the bankruptcy, took about 5 or 6 months, but I already had all my paperwork, so it's not like we had to go fishing for every penny. It was literally medical debt. The judge signed off on it, and I got what I needed. Maybe 7 or 8 months later, I got my first credit card through Sears. It was a Sears credit card. Shopping up here on the west side, Westland Mall. Rest in peace and power, Westland Mall. But there was a Sears up there. They used to have the Kim K clothing line up there. But yeah, went up there shopping a couple of times through 2011, 2012. But that was when I first got my credit card. Because again, I paid cash for everything. I didn't need anything else. But yep, that's the history of it, because you ain't gonna see no other credit card history before then. Now, I've been getting emails about credit cards in my name, which is through fraud, the group that Jafar is working with, the fraudsters that have been doing things in my name, acting like they're me. They're not me. They just keep stealing my mail. They keep intercepting my mail. They keep paying people at the post office to take my mail, to commit crime after crime after crime. And then they pay people to set up devices and break in and do all of these things. And then they go brag to other people about how they are fraudulating me, how they're committing fraud in my name. And then these people get scared after so much time and they tell me the truth. So Jaffa joined this group because he's a criminal, obviously. And when I said that in divorce court, July 10th, it didn't matter. When I said it in divorce court, October 10th, it didn't matter. Anything I said at court to the judge that's not noble, it did not matter. Him and the Franklin County Municipal Court clerks over here, like I said, I live 2 minutes away from the courthouse. They had already had it in their mind to steal and continue to commit fraud in my name. I was born Jessica Lynette Scott, May 9th, 1983, in Lynchburg, Virginia, to Sherry Younger Scott, Sherry Ruth Younger, at 2 o'clock in the morning, between 2 and 3 in the morning. She always said to me, I wanted you to come out on Mother's Day, but you didn't. And when you were born, I just was so happy to see your face. So something along those lines, right? But Mother's Day was actually May 8th that year. So I came out very early Monday morning, and the nurses was like, "Do you need dessert, honey? Do you need a pretty little dress to put on? We're gonna get you together." You know, I came into the world with bliss. Bliss. And still have that bliss today. People hate me for it. I don't care. You can hate me now. You can hate me now. But yeah, the fraud, the fraud that everyone has just, committed in a timely manner. Mind you, the fraud has been quite timely. The estranged family members popping up like daisies has been quite timely. Everything has been very strategic. Jaffa working with former co-workers of mine, estranged family members I never introduced him to, very strategic. There's never been anyone who represents me. I've never validated anyone to represent me. Nobody can legally represent me at all on any level. I've never had any issues. I've taken several lie detector tests in my life. I've taken fair housing for 10 years straight. I've went to the shooting range and got my concealed carry. I've been through so many tests with the career field that I'm in and previous ones. When I was a trainer at Teleperformance, I took calls for the first 6 months, and then I replaced the trainer and got that position. And then they loved my work so well, I went on to work with Priceline and became their number 2 trainer in the nation at Priceline at Teleperformance here in Hilliard. I used to train people for up to 30 days, 6 weeks, so that they could get ready for the call center world. So if y'all know what it's like to put that headset on, you know what I'm talking about. Chances are I probably trained you. I trained over 1,200 people during my time period there at Teleperformance. I trained many, many people. There's never been a time where my character has been in question. I did well at any place that I've ever worked at and went to school at. I performed entirely well. I don't have a reason not to. No, I always let a leader sit back and lead the way if I'm not the leader, if I am not the boss. I always respect that authority. But at the same time, I've never given up on the personality I have or the character I have. I bring that to the table first. So in my 10 years of working in property management, I've been to court 80 plus times for eviction. I have been to court maybe 30 times for myself for my speeding tickets between Ohio and Virginia. There's never been a time where I haven't been able to represent myself. Never a time where I've been knocked unconscious. Never a time when I spent weeks in the hospital or anywhere else. Never a time where I've ever been homeless. Never a time where I've been addicted on drugs and been on the street. There's never been a time. If you can tell me those times to my face, I'll shoot you. I'll sue you. Oh yeah, I'll sue you because it ain't nothing true about it. This ain't no prideful thing. This just simply is not true. But because my voice has been ignored, my actions and how I actually have lived have been ignored. My professional career has been ignored. My entire life has been ignored. So that some corrupt people here in Columbus, Ohio, that work at the Franklin County Municipal Court, that work for the Columbus Police Department, that work for the downtown elites, had all these resources and connections to allow Jaffa and them to steal property, to steal my signature, to sign off on something on 12/1 that I know nothing about. I don't know anything about what they're talking about. Jaffa's lawyer was very unethical. The very first time I seen the divorce decree was on 12/1, an hour before we got divorced. She kept that divorce decree under wraps, honey. Her and Jaffa was working together. She was one of the women that met with Jaffa May 9th last year on my birthday so that they could do their dirt and plan their dirt and tie up all their loose ends and make sure everything was strategically done so that I would never find out about those assets. But if it wasn't for the hitman, I wouldn't have known. What I do know is that in April, when Jaffa came to the house, he was upset, and I have a Ring video of it because I threw everything in the refrigerator away. It was making my pet sick. It was making me sick. Me being poisoned meant nothing to the courts. Nothing. Me being poisoned meant nothing to the police department. Me being poisoned, my pets dying, and everything else, it meant nothing to them. There's never been a time where I've borrowed and begged. Last year, Jaffa called me maybe the third week of May. I'm gonna turn the internet off. I'm gonna turn the internet off and the cable. If you want the internet in the house, you gotta pay for it. Okay. I contacted my mom, told my mom, Jaffa's trying to put me in an unsafe situation. He knows that if he disconnects the internet, that the Ring cameras outside and inside the home won't record when I'm coming and going. And I had already expressed concern about my safety, about my clothes missing, about the food being bad in the house to my mom. I had already expressed those concerns, already wrote police reports about it. She said, let me contact your brother. I said, okay. She contacted my brother. I contacted my brother. Moochie sent me $300. Said, great, because I already had food in my fridge. My pets were taken care of. I had a few dollars, but not a whole lot after that. I was in between jobs. I was in between jobs for 2 months. 2 months, three maybe close to 3 months. I don't even think it was a third full month in between jobs. And he sent me $300. I asked only for $200, but he said, I'm gonna send you $300, $200 for the internet, $100 for yourself. I said, thank you, and I'll pay you back. That was June. I got the internet turned on in my name and Spectrum, got the cable turned back on, in my house phone, because you gotta have a house phone. Oh my goodness, you gotta have a house phone. So I got everything turned back on in my name. I think that might have been June 7th, June 6th, somewhere around there, the first week of June. I turned the internet back on in my name, and everything was good from there. So by the time we went to court in July, the judge said, I advise you to get a lawyer. I said, hey, I've spoken to 2 lawyers. I can try, but both of them are like thousands of dollars. I have enough money to take care of me, my pets, and my car, make sure I can eat. But at the end of the day, I don't have the money for a lawyer. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to beg anybody for one. And also, I don't have anything I can sell to get money to get a lawyer. I can't sell my car. That would have been the most important thing that I have to afford a down payment on a lawyer. But I told him I would do my best, because I always do. I told the judge that's not noble. I'll do my best to get a lawyer. And I looked right at that unethical divorce attorney and Jafar in their eyes, just glaring at me, because I spoke about the discrimination and the hate that I had experienced with Jafar, experienced from the people in his community, because I was a Black woman. And we had gotten an argument in June because he couldn't tell me about some money when I was asking him about it, because the gang stalking was getting out of hand. He refused to tell me. But then he told me he couldn't tell me about it because other people knew about it. Still not being clear, still not being honest. So here I am in limbo, because I'm like, do I file charges against him? How can I file charges against him when I don't know the details? But I know he stole my identity because I wrote a report about it in April. I don't care who you're married to. If you steal someone's identity to commit digital crimes, bank crimes, wire fraud, and all these crimes, to put them purposely in harm's way, real estate fraud, to put them purposely in harm's way, to hide money, to purposely put your wife and spouse in the harm's way, you are a criminal. And I done separated you from you. What you doing with stuff in my name in the first place? I'm separated from you. I done filed divorce from you. You shouldn't have been using nothing in my name. But I digress. So, July came, went to court. By the end of July, Jaffa came over to the house and he's like, hey, I don't have the money to pay the rent for August. What do you mean? I don't have the money. Okay, well, you need your half. We're talking August 2025. You need your half, because I have my half of the rent and I'm already paying the utility bills. You need your half and to pay them utilities. He was very stressed out. He said somebody was taking money from him. Well, it wasn't me, because, babe, we was already separated. He had already moved out and everything. Well, I never took anything from that fool. Look at me, what I need to take for. So he left. I didn't see him again until the beginning of September, but somehow he paid his half of the rent for August. He paid half the rent for September. He paid half from there on out. He was able to make his way, I guess. I don't know what kind of fraud and crime Jaffa was into. From the time I separated from him to filing the divorce, I blocked him June 19th. He moved his stuff out by the end of June. Great. I was trying to just get him to drop himself from the lease. I wish he would have, but he didn't. In the state of Ohio, it takes two people to agree to drop each other from the lease, and he wouldn't agree to it. So I saw Jaffa maybe 4 times between end of June, when his cousins and them came in town from Georgia and South Carolina, Allah and the twin brothers. Which was, I believe, Abdullah's brothers, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. So sometime between the end of June and December 1st, I may have saw Jaffa 4 times outside of court, which was 4 more times than I needed to. When Jaffa came around, I did not fuss with him. It's not that I didn't have something to say. I just knew that he was a setup artist. I knew that he was a criminal. What can I say when I know he's a setup artist and this is what he do? He plants seeds around to set people up and go back and do more dirt later on and use this against you and use whatever against you. Plus the gang stalkers were still gang stalking me on his behalf while they committed crimes over state lines, while they committed fraud over state lines, impersonation, identity fraud. I mean, DoorDash crimes. Talil Al-Jahari used Jaffa's DoorDash account in Norfolk, Virginia for a year. And this is who the feds supported. This is who the Franklin County Municipal Court supported. This is who the unethical lawyers supported. They were so happy to support a criminal because I was an African-American woman. Now, can you imagine if I was another race? It wouldn't even went down like that. But at the end of the day, it was a lot of black people that supported Jaffa's criminal activity. So I'm not making this about race. This is about straight up hate and discrimination. That was from African-American men and women, white men and women, Arab men and women, religious people, them men and women, everybody. It was cybercrime after cybercrime, bank fraud after bank fraud, real estate fraud. To this day, I do not know the address that was not even in the divorce decree. As y'all can see, I put the divorce decree online. There was no information about that address that Jaffa had in my name, that house that he purchased in my name or attached my name to. I have none of that information. If I try to subpoena that information somehow, some way, I don't get callbacks, I get ignored, my emails don't get returned, nothing that I can do. This is all done strategically to keep me in the dark, as if I'm not Jessica Lynette Younger. I'm the only one, and I was married to that fool. Oh my God, good enough to steal from, not good enough to keep it real with. Still stealing. How am I getting mail about credit cards that y'all have in y'all name? How is that going to my email? You're committing fraud. This is constant. Now, this has been going on for years and years and years, and every time I do something to protect myself, they shut it down. This continues to go on for years and years and years because they see African American women as not worthy of support, of not worthy of justice. I look at it all the time. I've been Black for 43 years. I have seen it across the board where we have just been put down to nothing, to where our voices don't mean anything until we come up as a body. And even then, it's quick and done. That's what they expected out of me because they lied. They committed medical fraud. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I've had hypoglycemia since I was 13 or 14 years old. That's the gist of it. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I had the same doctors for so long. I was an ex-military wife. I had TRICARE. I went to military bases and got health care. How are you getting away with all these crimes? Because everyone in the city is helping you. Everyone in any corner of the justice system is helping you when I've lived nothing but a conducive life. In 2010, I lived at Skyview Towers right there off of 670. I lived over there. I had my CCW, my fishing license. I had my certified training instructor license over there through Teleperformance, worked 2 jobs. I lived in Skyview Towers from 2010 to 2012. At the end of 2012, maybe October, I moved to Skyview Townhomes when my mother wanted to move here and I got us a 5-bedroom. So I lived within the Skyview network from 2010 to 2018. I ain't never been hard to find. Never. I've been in the public my whole entire career. I've been on camera most of that career at any place that I've worked. I filed my taxes every year. I ain't never been hard to find. I done had the same LinkedIn page for over 10 years. I ain't never been hard to find. I get speeding tickets left and right. I ain't never been hard to find. I mean, I done been to eviction court with my residents 80 plus times in the last 10 years. I done been to court for my driving record since 2004, 5? In Virginia and Ohio. I ain't never been hard to find. I rent cars, I go on vacation. I ain't never been hard to find. I ain't never been somebody hiding. I ain't never had nothing you need to trace. But honey, I'm telling you, as an African American, I was treated like the bottom of everyone's shoe just because the elites backed up Jafar and his crew. So Jafar's unethical lawyer, she refused to put the address of the property in the divorce decree. I almost didn't sign it, but the judge basically put me under a little bit of duress because if I hadn't signed it, he was going to give Jafar the divorce anyway. He was going to give it to him, and then I wouldn't have had any grounds. I didn't have really any grounds back then because I had no lawyer. I was railroaded at court. I already said that on my LinkedIn page the day that I left court. I made a YouTube video about it. I made YouTube shorts about it because what they did at that courthouse was wrong. I never signed off on anything other than that divorce decree. Whatever the judge used my signature for on the divorce decree, I have nothing to do with because I know nothing about it. Now, don't get me wrong, I was a self-representing attorney, but that is that's the gist of it. But in no way, shape, or form am I stupid. I'm the one who paid for my real estate career. I'm the one who paid for Hondros. When I went to school and I got my A+ certification and my Network Plus certification, I paid for that, and I'm still paying the student loans for that. Of course, I've signed contracts for work. I've created contracts for work. But you think anybody cared? You think anybody would look beyond the paperwork and go, oh, let me go talk to her? No, they didn't. They were signing my name. They were committing fraud. Jafar got away with so much. Whatever it was worth it. And again, I haven't seen Jafar. I don't talk to Jafar since I scolded him December 1st. I don't have a reason to. If he's been anywhere in my vicinity, it is because of fraud. And I can't help it that they broke in my apartment and been breaking into my apartment since January 3rd. If I change the locks, they just break right into it, just like they did on Parsons Avenue to stage their crimes. They bragged about everything that they did behind my back while I was at home cooking, while I'm at home feeding my pets. And if y'all were watching illegally through those cameras, you saw what I was doing. You also saw them breaking into my house. You saw them poisoning me, poisoning my pets, stealing my clothes, stealing my personal property, because some of them screenshots were sent to me as a joke. Jaffa and the YouTube crew hacked my phone and been hacking my phone ever since. All they do is laugh about it because I'm an African American woman and they know that nothing is going to be done. It does not matter what I'm going to say. They have already AI generated conversations, AI generated photos and videos, AI generated signed NDAs to help them commit crimes, signed NDAs, bragged about it. Oh, my family works for the cops, them white girls in South Columbus that moved behind my house. They and work with the neighbors to lie. They signed NDAs to set me up, to commit fraud, to tell lies. No different than they pay people all the time to report back lies. But again, none of it's presented it to me because it can't be. They already know what I do and they know I'm not doing anything wrong. But as long as you don't have to confront me, as long as you don't have to present that information to me, you can get away with all of your lies. You can get away with all of your crimes. Keep stealing my mail. When I left Parsons Avenue, when me and Jaffa's 6 months lease ended, I moved into this apartment. There was no gap in my residency. I moved into this apartment. I'm confused because I've been this strong all my life. I never had a reason to change. My grandma Neil's birthday was Sunday, or excuse me, Friday. She would have been 96 years old. I told her, happy birthday, as soon as midnight hit. My grandma Neil, happy birthday, my love. She the best. My grandma Neil is the best. She always looked at me with love. She trusted me, and she told me some things when I was 18 years old, 25 and 29. She gave me some wisdom. She knew that I was on my own. It didn't matter. It did not matter. She knew that I was on my own. I look at her videos that I made with her prior to her passing all the time. I look at her pictures that I have left of her a lot. And that was one woman that loved me no matter what. I can't say the same for my mom. No matter what I did for her, she was just ready to cut it at any point in time. She believed liars. She believed thieves. Jaffa stole her coins. I can't believe it. Like the conversations I've always had with her throughout the years, I never had a problem with her. I have text messages where she was complaining about my brothers and sisters, saying, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. She never once complained about me. She had no reason to. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Every person in any community and neighborhood I lived in knew that. But there is a lot of racism and hate against a Black woman. These are hate crimes that were done against me, and nothing has been said, nothing has been done, not an ounce of justice has been delivered. But guess what? My mail's still being stolen. They got people impersonating me every step of the way. Look, if I step right now, somebody impersonating me. Honey, if I take an about step, somebody impersonating me. If I sing a song, honey, somebody impersonating me. All of this fraud, all of this fraud. They lied, they stole, they lied, they stole. Jaffa and the organized crime group, the Fleshman's lying. They've been felons for the longest kind of time. No, I did not hate them. I walked away from them. How could I walk away when our whole family is wrapped around each other, between my cousins and my nieces and my aunt that married my second cousin, my dad's sister? How? So make it make sense. And I'm not whose child? Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Anyway, I got 2 new babies, y'all. This Blackmore is Stassi, and this fancy goldfish is Stacia. So this is Stassi and Stacia, little babies. We got hundreds of Madagascar snails in here. They're kind of hanging out at the bottom here. Look how big Sharky got. Let me see if I can turn this around. Look how big Sharky got. Sharky is like, he's resting on the leaves right there. But yeah, my new babies, Stassi and Stacia, hanging out under the plants. I got them a new oxygen bomb. I kind of got to get a clip to put that on the wall. Trying to look for Albie. Albie. Well, I'll find Albie in a second. Well, anyway. Yeah, this is a good view. So I got me a new baby cockatiel. This is Emerald. Emerald Green Younger. Hey, Emerald. Emerald was born January 17th. So he's almost 7 months old. He's still a bit shy. Him and Sonny getting used to each other. So now I got 2 boys. He's got a lot of yellow in here in his body. But yep, I got him yesterday. It's a beautiful, beautiful baby. My beautiful baby. So anyway, I gotta go because it's 11 o'clock and I slept late today. Not slept late, I had to rest. You know, had some stuff to do and do my laundry and take care of those things. But I had to get on here tonight because, like I said, I'm not gonna stop until I get justice, until all of these things are done and reversed, until I'm fully notified, until my mail comes back to me, until I find out about this property, whatever it may be. I have measures that I can take that will make them have no choice but to tell me about what they did. Because once I'm responsible for certain things, I've always taken care of those things. They lied about these things. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all have whatever moments y'all having under the sun. I'm gonna still call y'all out about the fraud. I'm gonna put some stuff on my LinkedIn page by the end of the week because we'll see what happens this week. We'll see what happens this week. I'm always ready for y'all. Imagine me not. I don't know who they told you I was. I don't know. Maybe y'all think that because I'm not on social media blasting everything and talking about everything that I'm a nobody. Honey, the word no is in nobody. I'll never be what you think. Anyway, I'm going to bed soon, but I had to at least get a message out here again because it's the same old, no justice. Not a single ounce of justice has been served. No police have reached out to me about the police reports I filed with the known suspects, all of these things about the break-ins, all of it. They've not done a single thing. Not a single thing. No one has. So until I get what I need done, I'll be back on YouTube, and no, I'm not gonna keep coming on here every week and every other week. I'll come on here when I'm ready. I already was on here before I went on vacation talking about the girls in the white Mercedes that followed me from Columbus, gang stalking me in Dayton. I already did all that. Baby, when I got off the plane, honey, they was waiting and ready. They followed me in a white Lexus to the nail salon. They followed me in a white Lexus, and it was 2 black girls in the car. One of them had some wild bushy hair and some camouflage pants on. The ghetto-ness of it all. The ratchetness of it all. Okay? Not even worth a breath. Okay? I don't care about y'all's aunties, none of that. None of that. You think I'm not gonna speak? I will. You can keep following me until the sunset. There's room. There's room. There's room in the back. Bring it on. Bring it on. Y'all can consult y'all social media fiends, your readers, your groupies, all of that stuff. The Franklin County Municipal Court Group, they got a group of social media readers here in Columbus. I've already called them out on it last year, continue to call them out. It's the same old group. But like I said back then, I'll give you what you give me. I'm gonna do that every time. I'll never get tired. And when I go to sleep tonight, I'll get some good rest, and I'll wake up in the morning and I'll start again without you. Oh, but you'll be in the background in my shadow? Okay, just as long as you know you're in the back. And like I said before, you can place what you want at my feet. You have to bow down to do it. Happy birthday, Halo. Your auntie is always your auntie.